outside of the box, or give those supplies to district court with AED pads and a battery. All right, it is 11 o'clock, and we are here with our Bonner County Ambulance Service District. And with that, we will call the meeting to order and entertain a motion to adopt the order of the agenda.
Based on the information before us, I move to adopt the order of the agenda as presented.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second the motion. Any comment from the public? Seeing no public present, although the B is here, they count. Deliberation by the board?
None.
Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner Williams? Yes.
Yes.
All right, next item, consent agenda. This time we'll entertain a motion regarding the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion. Just want to let you know there will be discussion. Based on the information before us, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, there's a motion. I'll second the motion. Any comment from the public? Hearing none, deliberation by the board on the consent agenda.
Can we please clarify the SIF value?
It's 25,313. I had forgotten that we got a deduction.
Okay. There was a balance carried forward, like a credit balance
A credit
that
balance.
reduced the total
Yeah.
amount due. Okay.
I just went with what was up top, not what's
Gotcha.
on the bottom.
There was a change in the value, so I wanted to be sure we were approving the correct value.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you.
Anything further? All right. Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes. All right, next item is FY25 claims match.
This is so we've got two. One is a demand for our ambulance payment or ambulance lease payment that Clarissa said because it was approved by the board, there wasn't a memo, didn't need to be a memo for it. And then that's for $107,509.69. And the reason we did it as a demand was so that payment got there on time and it saved us the $10,000 late fee. And then the other one is our claims batch 34 for $48,047.12. And in that, the biggest one is the SIF payment.
So noted.
All righty. Do you have any questions before we entertain a motion on that item? All right, at this time, we'll entertain a motion.
Based on the information before us, I move to approve payment of the fiscal year 25 Bonner County Ambulance Service District claims in batch number 34 totaling $48,047.12 and demands batch number 34 totaling $107,509.69 for a grand total of $155,556.81.
All right, there's a motion. I will second the motion. Any comment from the public on this item? Seeing none, deliberation by the board?
None.
Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Next item, task list update.
Being our first meeting of the month, being the light task list item, I don't have anything specific, so unless someone else in the room has something they'd like to update, plan to do our detailed review at the next meeting.
I do not, Commissioner. The only thing I would ask is that I did request, the next meeting is actually my anniversary, and I did request that week off. I don't know if it's been approved. I haven't ever heard anything. Excuse me. But that is the week that I will not be here. But I think Chief Brinkmeyer is going to attend, so, and I think I might be able to Zoom.
We don't
depending
have
on
to
what's
Zoom
going
on our time off. I
Okay.
think your wife would appreciate
I'm sure she would.
celebrating.
I mean, maybe not, I don't know.
The board would like credit for making sure you didn't call in, that's our gift.
Please tell her we said you're not allowed.
Credit where credit is due.
But is there, well, did you get a second or no? Okay, I don't think you got a second. But he can attend that meeting. You can do it.
We can.
And I don't see
go over
anything
it later,
major.
But did you get a time off request? I didn't.
Where did you send your time? Oh,
I just sent it to you and Veronica, because I wasn't sure where it went
Okay.
anymore.
Okay.
can we just give it to one of us, and then we can clear it so that they can.
No, you're good.
You haven't been approved. I don't know what to tell you.
I know.
Did you plan to leave already, and so it really doesn't matter if we sign it, or kind of? That's what your face looked like.
Just go, no.
Guilty as
No.
charged. Okay.
So we'll get it, she'll give it to one of us, and then we'll get it back to you, sorry.
Thank you. No, you're fine.
Can you do, last time we did have a discussion on having our bookkeeper come and talk to us.
Yes. I believe I scheduled her to come in today. I'm not sure what happened.
Okay. Can we
But-
do a follow-up in, maybe not when you're not here, but the time?
Following
that you come
meeting?
back?
Yes.
Yeah. That way
Yes.
we're all here, and so we don't end up with, well, let's ask Chief Lindsay.
Yes.
First meeting in July.
Yep. Nope. We can absolutely make that happen.
That was my only question on that, so budget forecast.
So per my handout, the current cash as of last week when I sent this in was $1,166,000. The forecasted revenue was 1.7 million 40, and that's including our expected tax our tax drop in July. Total available 2906069. Forecast expenditures is 1,691,000, and then the forecast ending balance is 1.2, basically 1.2 million.
We can go backwards.
And speaking of bookkeeper, here she is.
There we go.
This is Jennifer Wyman. She's our new bookkeeper. Were your ears burning?
I was actually at my meeting with Clarissa and.
Oh, gotcha.
And then they're like,
Important
"Jennifer,
stuff."
are you-" And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So
worries.
you're talking to them.
No, so this is Jennifer.
Can we pass her your microphone back so she doesn't?
Oh, yeah, you get to be on mic.
On your, let's stick on your budget, and then we'll go backwards.
So that's just the forecast.
So we're still doing good in terms of what we're anticipating our ending will be.
Correct.
And Chief, I'm going to forget the terminology, but there was the new annual contribution that's going to come from the special consideration.
Is that the urban renewal or is that the
not the urban renewal,
Medicaid?
The Medicaid. I
Yep,
don't know what the terminology
GEMT,
is.
Ground Emergency Medical Transport.
Is that included in the forecasted revenue?
No, sir. So Commissioner, we won't see, if and when we see that, it will be next spring.
Okay, so it will not be in this
It
fiscal.
will not be in this fiscal year,
Okay,
correct?
Thank you for the clarification.
Absolutely.
And then, because you mentioned it, I'm assuming it's not, but let's clarify for everyone that it's not. The urban renewal district refund is also not included in the anticipated revenue, correct?
Correct, it is not included.
Perfect. Because we do not know at this time if we will receive any of those funds.
We have been denied by Old Town urban renewal, which I think was somewhere around $2,000. And then I was told by Chief Armstrong that we did get approved to receive the Dover one, which is the big one. That was like 60-something thousand. So that's a good, I haven't heard officially yet. I just, per the chief,
We see the documentation
till I see the check, right?
for it.
Yeah. Okay.
That is good news, though. Thank
Yep.
you for clarifying.
Do you have any public comments on the budget forecast update? No? Okay. Let's go back and hit bookkeeper. Nice to meet you. I'm Commissioner Williams,
Commissioner Domke?
and Commissioner Korn is not present today, but we wanted to put a face to the person that's going to do the bookkeeping and kind of get an update from you on, we authorized to start the process for transition, and we're coming up on the month that the full transition will be there, to kind of get an idea of how you see things, where they're going. And then my question is going to be that, do you anticipate an increase or decrease of the rate? Because in part, there was a little bit of a disclaimer kind of based on what you saw once you actually started getting records, that there might be some fluctuation. And then what, if any, assistance do you need from the Board of Commissioners? And then for us to kind of explain kind of the state of where we are. The Board of Commissioners in this meeting acts as the hat over the ambulance district. It's its own taxing district, and we're trying to segregate it from the county to reflect what it was legally identified as when it was formed. And part of that desire from the ambulance district was its own bookkeeping, which you're also doing their payroll as well. So with all of that, we want to kind of have that dialogue so that we can understand what you need and what would be better, and then what can we expect from you as the bookkeeper kind of stuff. So I'm going to just open it up to you. We did get to see your resume and all that good stuff, and we know how many other places within Sandpoint that you actually do provide your service to. So I'll first say thank you for your willingness to work with the ambulance district, because it is a project to pick up where other things have been left off. So how are things going so far?
So we're in the preliminary stages still. There's been a lot of like months of conversations, but I'd say like in the last couple of weeks, I've actually been able to like start making my list of action items, which is I had met with Clarissa this morning briefly and went over some of the banking side of it just so I can clarify the questions that I had and how that's going to look, where there's still actions that need to happen, and she's working on that. And I was going to discuss that with Jeff as well, but I don't see any problems with anything. We just are still getting the ball rolling. I'm going to get access to the bank statements for the past, like October 1 through current, just so that I can get all of that historical data under my belt and entered into my system, because you're mid-year, as well as payroll. So I met with Kinsey and was looking into the payroll side of things a little bit more detailed. Bank accounts need to get opened, and then the payroll accounts need to be opened because we're separating everything from the district. So those are kind of the two high priority items right now. As far as increasing in my rates, that's not something I can really speak to yet, because I haven't been given all the information. I'm still working through it, but I would say for at least 90 days, we're staying with the rate that it is. And then that way I can get a feel for, this is taking more time, this is more in depth than what was expected, or maybe I am able to say it's not as in depth, or there's a lot of things that we can streamline and make it less, and I could save money there. Ultimately, that was one of the questions, was software pricing. And so I've been really trying to find out how we can save money, direct deposit fees, like anything like that that is going to be excessive. I'm looking into wholesale options, accountant version, accounts, and then just, any other backdoor way that's still legitimate. Like it's nothing that's, not used in other entities, but this is one of my biggest, clients. And obviously I'm honored that you guys have selected me and are going to be working with me. So I'm excited. But I do have clients, all over the US. And so I'm familiar with all of these, items that we'll be, using. It's just on a little bit larger scale. So.
Appreciate kind of that timeline, because it lets us know that in that next 90 days that we need to kind of address, because part of good budgeting is to know, are we expecting an increase or decrease, so that we're prepared. And also, once you find someone that you want to do that service, we want to be open and available and supportive of that transition, so that it doesn't become a situation where people say, I don't want to work because it's too hard to just have a simple conversation. And so I appreciate identifying the high-level priority action items that need to be addressed. I think as a board of commissioners and over the ambulance district, I make sure that you're okay communicating with us as well. If you need something, if it's I need to get this answer right now, but copying us is not unreasonable, but your point of contact is Chief Lindsay, because he is the chief of the ambulance district, and I'm sure he has you tied in with Alan as well. But hopefully you understand kind of where we're going as a board of commissioners and an ambulance district, and that you know who your resources are, even if it's, I need to reach out to, like you're doing with the treasurer and the clerk's office. So anything from you, Commissioner Donkey?
No, I think that's really well covered, so thank you and welcome aboard.
Thank you. We don't like to waste people's time, so you don't have to sit through us continuing to talk, since I know we did ask to be able to meet you. That way when we see you wandering around the hallways, we can say, we know who she is. But if you'd like to leave, you can. But thank you for coming and showing up and letting us ask you questions, and be okay asking us for stuff. So, okay.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But not next Wednesday, because Chief Lindsay is not available. So,
Glad we got that resolved.
yes.
Are you guys meeting weekly at this point?
It's twice a
Bi-weekly.
month, the first and third Wednesdays of the month.
Yep.
And Chief, on the budget forecast. Gonna revisit an old conversation, kind of blend it with our fiscal year 26 budget planning that we're in the middle of. Just want to remind us, I think it would be really beneficial if, as the fiscal year 26 budget is further developed, that we also take the opportunity to use that as the starting point and do a 5-year budget vision. Again, it's going to be our best guess on the data we have, but seeing what we anticipate for types of revenue and percent changes, I would really like us to have that 5-year look ahead and see how it impacts our anticipation of the need for a TAN, and also, as we keep talking about, working toward being confident ourselves as the leadership, but even more importantly for the staff, that we have a stable plan for the future and that we have a plan to grow with the county's needs, and that we're addressing that in that 5-year look ahead. So that's something I would like us to remember as we're developing the FY26 budget, and we have a level of confidence that that's looking good, that we've done a good job with that, that then we build the 5-year look ahead right on the heels of developing the FY26.
And I'm mentioning staffing. How is staffing in terms of morale and that kind of working at?
Obviously,
Increased confidence, kind of.
it took a little bit of a hit last meeting because there was talk of dissolving, even though,
I know I saw the article.
and then the article,
The-
and I will thank you up front. She did make some corrections to that, and I appreciated that. Anytime an employee hears that their job's getting dissolved or sees that their job's getting dissolved,
The article content was good.
Yes.
It was the
Yeah,
headline.
yeah,
Because
so that took a little bit of a hit, but I think, and Chief Brinkmeyer has a lot more interaction with the employees, but the employees I've talked to seem way more upbeat now that we're talking about, like in this next year's budget, we're putting in there to pay people for the level that they're operating at, whereas this year it's kind of been hodgepodge, So I think that stability is what they're looking for, but I haven't seen any.
I just want to make sure we're keeping our finger on the pulse of employee morale, because it's a job and it's a skill, and there's flexibility in this field, and unlike other areas where you can go someplace else. And part of what keeps you as an employee is not just liking what you do, but who you work with. And even though we might not be working side by side with the people that are in your department, our actions and communication can positively or negatively impact somebody's feeling of, I enjoy working where I work. And so I want to make sure that I pay attention to that when I speak, that I understand are you guys feeling that you're hearing negative stuff, so that we can assess and address that.
Right.
Because we don't want people to leave for fear that we're not moving in the right direction, because that's part of, I think, also with Commissioner Domke commenting on focusing on 26 and moving forward with a little bit more concrete now that we have seen the same stability, that can help people to feel that we're solvent as an ambulance district. And so as we're changing things, what we're not going to do is dissolve. What we're changing is the structure so that we can continue on that positive trajectory. And so I want to make sure that that's what people are hearing, not a panic. So if you guys could continue that kind of line of communication and give us suggestions as we move out of the panic mode, because we've done a lot of work in a very short period of time to correct decades of this going in a different direction. I won't say wrong, I'll just say different. And that is to be commended for every person that's put their finger on this. But it doesn't make it easy, because you're dealing with people's lives on both aspects. It's the employee who has a livelihood, and then it's the people of Bonner County that want to depend that 911 is there, because we know we need it when we dial it, not really it's there, I can dial. It's when we dial, the showing up aspect. So I appreciate that.
And I would like to, in case I didn't say it clearly or well enough at the last meeting, when it comes to the legal structure, what I really want the staff, especially in the community, to understand is, from my perspective, and I believe this is shared by the board, it's about making sure we have the best legal structure for the future long-term stability of the ambulance district. Not about wanting to change things or wanting to envision it differently. It's saying, what's the correct structure for the long-term stability? And if that means making no changes to the current legal structure, that's great. If it means that we need to make a change, we'll figure that out and have that open conversation. But it's just about trying to make sure that we have a really good foundation so that we do have the stability, not because we want to completely envision it differently, dissolve something. We just want to be sure we're stable.
Well, and it helps us to say that we had that difficult conversation so that when we come back to why are we certain doing something versus something else, we know we had that discussion why we're choosing the option moving forward, because it is peeling back an onion to understand why decisions were made with the available documentation. And that's part of what we're trying to do, is make sure we can answer the why we didn't do something or that we did. Because the community, for example, on that comment about do you dissolve and start over, the community has that question. And regardless of the decision, we'll know that we reviewed it thoughtfully and considered it and why we're going to choose one or the other. And part of what I talked with our office manager on, and also Commissioner Domke brought it up as well, of a better way of tracking these pivotal decisions and creations so that all of the records are in a location that we can find and we can see how we came to those decisions, because that is by far time-consuming and difficult, which you'll hear about later today. So,
Have we made a decision as a board that, are we still thinking about the other possibility, or when would you guys come up with a concrete, we are going forward with the structure we are now, or is it going to be reviewed almost
I
every?
think that's our next point.
Perfect.
it won't actually get reviewed on his next point either.
Oh,
So that will be
It's going to be talked about in the next.
not in the depth that we're going to talk about it after.
Oh,
We're going to throw a cog in the wheel.
oh.
So,
So I,
not we.
to answer
some-
the question though, I
but,
think we
yeah.
can say our intent is to make a clear decision in the near future as soon as we can. It's
Yeah.
just, we just need to get a few more questions answered. But from my perspective, we have a few pieces of data we need to get confirmed.
Yeah.
Then we can hopefully have, because of schedules, all three commissioners here, all three ambulance commissioners here, and we can have a thorough discussion and make a decision publicly at that point.
You might have some answers. I just got off of a call earlier to kind of finalize some stuff. You might have some answers from 2017 that I can't find, but,
oh.
so anyhow, all right.
But yeah, we have to track down the history and
It's like
make
a
sure
time
everything's.
capsule, we have to go dig it up.
It'd probably be easier if we would just bury it in Bonner
Yes.
County, then we know. The ambulance district is buried right there. All
We
right.
are trying to get to a final.
That's not a
decision
headline, though.
in the
We didn't
near
bury it in
future.
Lake Ponderay.
So it's not an open-ended question
Yeah.
that people are concerned about.
Sorry, it's on that. I just asked. 'Cause
No,
we're talking about
you're
something
not
that
wrong,
was
and
like-
we do need to make a decision openly so that when we pick the direction, this is the structure and this is what we're building. It's shaky ground. It's hard to fake because we don't have the paper trail as easily to find something, so. Okay, MOU update.
So I have MOUs ready to go. Our legal team has created them, drafted them. They're ready to go. The only thing left is for me to meet with the three departments that we're doing the MOUs with. And that is HR, which I went up there today and they said that there were some things kind of up in the air with HR. So I will need to meet with them at some point and decide one-on-one, like fees. We're looking at a flat fee based on hours per month that we historically have used. Same with IT and same with facilities. something in place to where this is what we pay, this is the value. And then the way the MOU is built is, let's evaluate this in 365 days and see if it's still something that.
And if, I'm reading between the lines, but it's very understandable and possible that HR is reluctant to offer feedback right now with the lack of a director in that department at this time. But if they need more assistance with making that decision, we can ask the prosecutor to provide support for that
And
department to make a decision.
they're very open. They absolutely don't mind. They just don't know if, with the lack of a director, if they can make that.
And that's why I'm saying, so HR, they directly report to the prosecutor.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Yeah,
if-
I'm tracking that.
Because of the lack of a director at this, at this
Gotcha.
time, then if they need someone at a higher level to help make that decision, we should pull the prosecutor in, and then he can temporarily fill that decision-making
Okay.
role
Perfect.
at the lack of a director.
I wonder if we shouldn't pull your MOUs in terms of having its own meeting with you and the prosecutor for, so the Bill Wilson side for ours, because we
Correct.
are
I'm going to send them to
doing the MOU.
Bill so he can review them.
But I mean, what if we did, you send it over to Bill, but then there was a conversation with all of the parties in the room, and then you bring the MOUs for a vote after we've reviewed them with our council and the individuals that would be impacted by the MOU? Because you've got yours drafted from your side of the ambulance district.
Correct.
And so the
And it needs to go
remaining
to the
piece is the
prosecutor.
county interface. And so that would allow us to do a one-stop kind of discussion instead of having to chase everyone down. If we looked at a meeting with HR, facilities, and technology, and the prosecutor's office with the Board of County Commissioners, and we got to ask our questions as the Board of County Commissioners interface, and then you bring your MOU request in your next follow-up meeting after we've had that discussion. Because the Board of Commissioners has to look at the MOUs from the perspective of the county to the ambulance
Sure.
district. And that way, you wouldn't have to chase everyone. What do you think about doing it that way? And then you could get your answers in time from the prosecutor of.
Well, I'm still going to be talking to these directors because I think that's my job. However, what you're referring to is like a final,
When we come
like,
to
let's
needing
all
to
come
approve
together
the
and,
MOUs.
yep,
Yeah,
no, I agree.
yeah, okay. Do you think that would be more efficient, Commissioner?
I agree. I think having that both sides meeting conversation would be beneficial.
Okay.
Then hopefully if there's anything that's a question, we can just get it resolved right then, and we can even schedule it right to still be an action discussion decision so that we can do it all at once if it's possible to
Yeah,
resolve any questions in the meeting. And again, I think I would just, at this time, I would reach out to the prosecutor, and just ask him if he could act as the director in this instance to keep the ball rolling, to get the draft fully prepared to bring forward to that meeting and conversation. And then the other piece to that, I just want to confirm, this is a semantic, but has the ambulance district's attorney with the they have in fact drafted MOUs, not JPAs.
I'll have
It's
to
a
go back.
semantic, but
I'll have to go back and look at it. It might be a JPA.
just, at one point in time, we asked about MOUs and they said they actually would typically use JPAs.
I remember seeing JPA in there, so I think
Okay.
that's what it is.
For me, it's a semantic since I'm not an attorney,
Yeah.
but I just want.
But I'll send
I
them.
want to
There's
use
a
the correct
difference.
language so that as we go into it.
Because I think they used the JPA legal statute and versed it in the,
Okay, so please confirm so that going forward, we use consistent language with what the agreements are so that we don't confuse ourselves and the public. Because if we can't use JPA and MOU interchangeably once we know which structure, which form of
Yeah.
agreement we're actually using, so it's a
I'll get-
semantic, but
I'll get that
for
squared up.
clarity.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else on MOUs? Is there anyone online? Okay, so any public comment on MOU update? Okay, all right, then we'll go to public comment. No? All right, okay. We're done with public comment. So at this time, let me ask on this personnel action item regarding hiring and potential retirement. We will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Pursuant to Idaho Code 74-206, 1A hiring and 1B personnel, I move that we go into executive session.
There's a motion, I'll second the motion. Any comment from the public on this? Deliberation by board? Hearing none, roll call vote. Yes?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. So all those except Chief, yep.